All right, so struggling with to know if he's called to preach or not. And how do you know if you were called to preach into missions? Well, the thing is, even Jeremiah dealt with that. I've been in Jeremiah a lot lately. Jeremiah said, I decided I wasn't going to preach and I was going to quit preaching. But he said it was a fire in my bones. It burned in me. It's just something I had to do. And when God calls a man to preach, God doesn't just preach. He becomes a preacher. And so you do what you are. If you're a dog, you bark, and if you're a cat, you meow and be annoying. And but if you're a preacher, you'll preach. You'll desire to preach. You'll burn in your bones while you hear men preach. And how do I know I'm called to preach? Well, I'd be miserable doing anything else. I know God made me a preacher, and I know God called me to preach. And the desire is so strong. This is what I tell folks. Okay, if you can live your life doing anything else but preaching, then you're not called to preach. Same thing with missions. If you can live your life and do anything else except missions work, then you're not called. Because when God calls a man, he does such a great work. And I mean, you look at the life of Jonah. God called Jonah, and he was miserable until he obeyed the Lord. And even Jeremiah, he tried to quit preaching, but he couldn't. It was a fire burned up in his bones, and he had to do it. He said he could not stay. And so that is tremendous. Good question there.